Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's super important for all electric car owners or anyone thinking about making the switch. Electric vehicles, EVs, are the future, but let's be honest, they're also a whole new world of driving habits, maintenance, and even mindset. And guess what? A lot of us are making some common mistakes without even realizing it. So, in this video, we're going to explore 10 common electric car mistakes you're probably making, and trust me, by the end of this, you'll walk away with some game-changing tips to get the most out of your EV. Let's get started. Mistake 1. Ignoring your charging habits. Alright, let's start with the most obvious one: charging. Now, I know what you're thinking, charging is easy, right? Just plug it in and forget about it. Well, not so fast. One of the biggest mistakes EV owners make is not optimizing their charging habits. For example, did you know that constantly charging your battery to 100% can actually reduce its lifespan over time? Most EV batteries are happiest when they're kept between 20% and 80%. And here's another pro tip: avoid using fast chargers all the time. Sure, they're convenient, but frequent fast charging can stress your battery. Think of it like this: your EV's battery is like your phone's battery. You wouldn't charge your phone to 100% every single night, right? The same logic applies here. So, start paying attention to how and when you charge. It'll save you a lot of headaches and money in the long run. Mistake 2. Not planning your trips properly. Now, let's talk about road trips. One of the biggest fears people have about EVs is range anxiety. What if I run out of juice in the middle of nowhere? But here's the thing: range anxiety is often caused by poor planning. A common mistake is not using your car's built-in navigation system or apps like PlugShare to map out charging stations along your route. EVs are amazing for long drives, but you've got to plan ahead. For example, if you're driving through a rural area, you'll want to know exactly where the next charger is. And here's a little story. Last year, I took my EV on a road trip without checking the charging stations along the way. Guess what happened? I ended up stranded for an hour, waiting for a tow truck. Lesson learned: always plan your trips, and always have a backup charger in mind. Mistake 3. Overlooking maintenance. Alright, let's bust a myth right now. Just because your EV doesn't have an engine doesn't mean it's maintenance-free. A lot of people think EVs are set it and forget it machines, but that's not the case. Yes, EVs have fewer moving parts compared to traditional gas-powered cars. No oil changes, no spark plugs, no exhaust systems to worry about. But that doesn't mean you can just ignore maintenance altogether. In fact, there are some unique aspects of EV maintenance that you need to keep an eye on. Let's break it down. 1. Tire wear and tear. First up, tires. Did you know that EVs tend to wear out tires faster than traditional cars? There are two main reasons for this. Instant torque. EVs deliver power to the wheels instantly, which is great for acceleration, but can put extra stress on your tires. Heavier weight. The battery pack in an EV makes it significantly heavier than a gas-powered car, and that extra weight means more friction on the tires. So, what can you do? Regularly check your tire pressure and alignment. Underinflated tires can reduce your range and increase wear. And don't forget to rotate your tires as recommended by the manufacturer. It'll help them last longer. 2. Brake maintenance. Next, let's talk about brakes. Now, you might be thinking, wait, don't EVs use regenerative braking? Doesn't that mean I don't have to worry about brake maintenance? Well, yes and no. Regenerative braking is amazing. It converts the energy from braking back into battery power, which means you use your physical brake pads less often. But here's the catch: because you're using them less, they can actually seize up or corrode over time if they're not used regularly. So, even though your brake pads might last longer in an EV, you still need to get them checked during your regular service appointments. And if you hear any unusual noises or feel less responsiveness when braking, don't ignore it. Get it checked out right away. 3. Battery health. Now, let's talk about the heart of your EV, the battery. While EV batteries are designed to last a long time, they still require some care. For example, avoid extreme temperatures. Prolonged exposure to very hot or very cold weather can affect your battery's performance and lifespan. Don't always charge to 100%. As we talked about earlier, keeping your battery between 20% and 80% is ideal for long-term health. Use the manufacturer's recommended charging practices. Some EVs have built-in features to help maintain battery health, like scheduled charging or battery preconditioning. Think of your battery like your phone's battery. You wouldn't let your phone overheat or constantly drain it to 0%, right? The same principles apply here. 4. Cooling systems. Here's something a lot of people don't realize: EVs have cooling systems too. While they don't have radiators like gas-powered cars, they still rely on cooling systems to regulate the temperature of the battery and other components. If the cooling system isn't working properly, it can lead to overheating, reduced performance, and even damage to the battery. So, make sure to include cooling system checks in your regular maintenance routine. 5. Software updates. Finally, let's not forget about software updates. EVs are like smartphones on wheels. They rely heavily on software to function efficiently. Regular updates can improve everything from battery management to performance and even add new features. But here's the mistake: a lot of people ignore these updates or delay them, thinking they're not important. Don't make that mistake. Always install updates as soon as they're available. They're not just about new features, they're about keeping your car running smoothly and safely. So, there you have it. EVs might be lower maintenance than traditional cars, but they're not no maintenance. From tires and brakes to battery health and software updates, there's still plenty to keep an eye on. Think of your EV like a high-performance athlete. It doesn't need as much maintenance as a traditional car, but when it does, it's crucial to keep it in top shape. So, don't skip those service appointments. Your EV will thank you with better performance, longer range, and a longer lifespan. Now that we've covered maintenance, let's move on to mistake 4, not understanding regenerative braking. Trust me, this one's a game changer. Mistake 4, not understanding regenerative braking. Now, this one's a game changer. Regenerative braking is one of the coolest features of an EV. It converts the energy from braking back into battery power. But here's the mistake: a lot of people don't fully understand how to use it. For example, if you're driving in heavy traffic, you can maximize your range by using regenerative braking instead of slamming on the brakes. It's all about driving smoothly and letting the car do the work. Here's a quick tip: if your car has adjustable regenerative braking settings, play around with them to see what works best for your driving style. Once you master this, you'll notice a significant boost in your efficiency. Mistake 5, ignoring software updates. Finally, let's talk about software updates. This is where EVs are light years ahead of traditional cars. But here's the mistake: a lot of people ignore these updates or delay them, thinking they're not important. The truth is, software updates can improve everything from your car's performance to its battery management and even add new features. For example, Tesla regularly rolls out updates that increase range or add new autopilot capabilities. Think of it like updating your smartphone. You wouldn't skip an update that makes your phone faster and more secure, right? The same goes for your EV. So, the next time you see that update available, a notification, don't ignore it. Mistake 6, not preconditioning your battery. Alright, let's talk about something that's especially important if you live in a colder climate: preconditioning your battery. This is a mistake a lot of EV owners make, especially during winter, and it can have a big impact on your driving experience. So, what exactly is preconditioning? Simply put, it's the process of warming up your battery, and sometimes the cabin, before you start driving or charging. Think of it like warming up before a workout. Your car performs better when it's at the right temperature. But why does this matter? Let's break it down. 1. Cold weather and battery efficiency. First, let's talk about how cold weather affects your EV's battery. When temperatures drop, the chemical reactions inside the battery slow down. This means your battery isn't as efficient, and you'll notice a significant drop in range. For example, on a really cold day, you might see your range drop by 20% or even 30%. That's a huge difference, especially if you're planning a long trip. But here's the good news, preconditioning can help mitigate this. By warming up the battery before you hit the road, you'll get closer to your car's optimal range and performance. 2. Protecting battery health. Next, let's talk about battery health. Cold temperatures don't just reduce your range, they can also stress your battery over time. Charging a cold battery, for example, can lead to slower charging speeds and even long-term damage. Preconditioning helps by bringing the battery to its ideal operating temperature before you start driving or charging. This not only improves performance but also extends the lifespan of your battery. Think of it like stretching before a run. It's all about preventing unnecessary strain. 3. Cabin comfort. Here's another benefit of preconditioning that you'll love, it warms up the cabin too. Imagine stepping into a toasty warm car on a freezing winter morning, no more shivering while you wait for the heater to kick in. And here's the best part, if you're plugged in while preconditioning, the energy used to heat the cabin comes from the grid, not your battery. That means you're saving your battery's charge for driving, which is a win-win. For how to precondition your battery. Now, let's talk about how to actually precondition your battery. Most modern EVs come with this feature, and it's usually super easy to use. Here's how it works. Use the app. Most EVs have a mobile app that lets you schedule preconditioning. For example, if you know you're leaving for work at 8 a.m., you can set the car to start warming up at 7:45 a.m. Set a timer. Some EVs let you set a daily schedule, so your car automatically preconditions at the same time every day. Precondition before charging. If you're using a fast charger in cold weather, preconditioning can help your battery charge faster and more efficiently. It's like giving your car a warm cup of coffee before hitting the road. It's ready to go when you are. 5. Real-life example. Let me give you a real-life example. Last winter, I forgot to precondition my EV before a long drive in freezing temperatures. Big mistake. My range dropped significantly, and I had to make an unplanned stop to recharge. The next day, I tried again, but this time, I preconditioned the battery before leaving. The difference was night and day. My range was much closer to normal, and the cabin was warm and cozy right from the start. It was a game changer. So, if you live in a colder climate, or even if you just experience the occasional chilly morning, don't overlook preconditioning. It's a simple step that can make a huge difference in your EV's performance, range, and overall health. Think of it like this, your EV is like a marathon runner. You wouldn't expect them to perform their best without a proper warm-up, right? The same goes for your car. So, take a few minutes to precondition your battery, and you'll be rewarded with a smoother, more efficient drive. Now that we've covered preconditioning, let's move on to mistake 7, overloading your EV. Trust me, this one's more common than you think. Mistake 7, overloading your EV. Now, this one might surprise you, overloading your EV. EVs are amazing for their efficiency, but they're also heavier than traditional cars because of the battery. And when you add extra weight like luggage, bikes, or even too many passengers, it can significantly impact your range. For example, I once took my EV on a camping trip with a roof rack full of gear. I didn't think much of it until I noticed my range dropping faster than usual. Lesson learned, every pound counts when it comes to EVs. So, pack smart and avoid unnecessary weight if you're planning a long trip. Mistake 8, ignoring tire pressure. Here's a mistake that's easy to overlook, ignoring tire pressure. Did you know that underinflated tires can reduce your EV's range by up to 10%? That's a big deal when you're trying to maximize efficiency. EVs are more sensitive to tire pressure because of their weight and the way they're designed. So, make it a habit to check your tire pressure regularly, especially before long trips. Most EVs even have a built-in tire pressure monitoring system, so there's really no excuse to skip this one. Think of it like this, your tires are the shoes of your car. You wouldn't run a marathon in flat shoes, right? The same goes for your EV. Mistake 9, not using eco mode. Next up, not using eco mode. A lot of EV owners don't realize how much of a difference this feature can make. Eco mode adjusts your car's performance to maximize efficiency, like reducing acceleration and limiting energy use for things like air conditioning. Here's the thing, you don't always need to drive in eco mode, but it's a lifesaver when you're running low on charge or trying to extend your range. For example, I once used eco mode during a long road trip and managed to reach the next charging station with just 2% battery left. It's a small change that can make a huge difference. Mistake 10. Not researching charging networks. Finally, let's talk about charging networks. One of the biggest mistakes new EV owners make is not researching the charging networks available in their area or along their usual routes. Not all charging networks are created equal. Some are faster, some are more reliable, and some are just plain expensive. For example, Tesla has its supercharger network, but if you don't own a Tesla, you'll need to know which networks are compatible with your car. Here's a pro tip: download apps like ChargePoint, Electrify America, or PlugShare to find the best charging stations near you. Trust me, a little research can save you a lot of frustration. And there you have it, 10 common electric car mistakes you're probably making. From charging habits to software updates, these tips will help you get the most out of your EV and avoid some costly mistakes. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone who's thinking about going electric. And if you've made any of these mistakes yourself, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, drive safe and stay charged. Subscribe for more EV tips and tricks.